Welcome to Career Launch Live. I am your host, Catherine McCord, and I am very excited about today's episode. I know I say that all the time, but I really am because I have some friends of mine and some wonderful, incredible women coming on, one of whom is an author. She wrote a wonderful book called If My Ass Were Smaller, Life Would Be Better, and Other Lies That the Mean Girl Inside Your Head Tells You. Very interesting book. We're also going to have, and that's Julie Glenn that's coming on. We're also going to have Shelby Kinsner on today, who is a marketing guru and an entrepreneur, and she's only in her mid-20s. How cool is that? But first and foremost, I want to thank today's sponsor, actually our sponsor for the entire month of April. I know it's not April yet, but we decided to go ahead and give them a jump start. So we have an author as our sponsor this month. We are going to be having Margot Channing as our sponsor. Margot writes poetry for and about women. And you can find Margot's new book, She, on Amazon. Now, this is some really cool stuff. It's poetry. Margot also she actually has several poetry books, but you can also look into some wonderful thrillers that she sponsors as well, not her own, but that she sponsors. And I highly, highly, highly recommend looking this up on Amazon. So again, you're going to be looking for Margot Channing and her book, She. Here's a little bit of information. You can find it on Amazon. Check it out. All right. So first and foremost, I want to get some news out there. So I'm very excited to be announcing this today. The job market is getting better, you guys. This is so exciting. So we have added 380,000 jobs in the last month to the U.S. economy. That is stupendous. We're nowhere near the state that we were before COVID, but it is getting closer and closer every month. And this was a big leap that direction. California is leading the way and is actually on track to have more jobs in the market by the end of 2021 than they did, or by 2022 than they did even before COVID. So that's really, really exciting. This is great news. Oh, hi, Kevin. See you there. Hey, Daryl. See both of you there. Thank you so much for joining us. So I want to just jump right in today. So we got our little news out of the way. We're all very, very excited about the job market. But today we're going to be talking about personal branding because that's how we get those jobs. That's how we grow our business. That's how we grow our show. Whatever's going on with you, you need to have a strong personal brand, right? So we're going to go ahead and welcome on our first guest because she's graciously come on a little bit early for us today. Let's go ahead and bring on Miss Shelby. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Need to back this up a little bit, but other than that,
I know we like a close up. It was like your glam shot.
Well, when I was entering the room, it was wide shot, and so I wasn't prepared just yet. But I'll get it.
Okay.
I'll get it.
It's okay. It's these visual mediums, they'll get you. They really, really will.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Catherine yesterday when we were chatting, I was like, the different platforms are so funny because I've been a digital nomad, digital entrepreneur for 5-6 years now. And so like I used Zoom when Zoom was really uncool. And so now I'm kind of mad about all the changes that have happened.
Right. It's like, wait a minute. No.
Like, you guys, stop changing things about this platform that I've been using for 6 years. That's
right. Like, I loved it. Why are you changing it? I do not like this one little bit.
And we're building new ones. Like, I love StreamYard. And then like I've used like BeLive before and a bunch of different other ones. But I just think it's so funny because now more and more of them are coming out. Like people are utilizing this opportunity to make new softwares.
I know, which is great. But and with you, it also gets a little irritating. It's like, oh, this was so great.
You have no idea because I work in the tech space with a lot of my digital marketing clients. And so we work in the tech space and they all have ones that they like and they will not use the other ones. Like they're like, no, I don't like that platform. And I'm like, I have like 17 of the exact same thing on my computer at all times. So
we're going to talk about that in just a second because I think that is so important because we have to learn to branch out, right? And get outside of our little comfort zones. But first, tell us a little bit about you. Give us the little mini biography about Shelby.
For sure. Yeah. So like I said a minute ago, I have owned my digital marketing agency for a little over 5 years now. I've actually been doing it I've been doing social media and everything involving digital marketing for about 7 years, but for the first 2 years I was in college. I was a freelancer. I was just paying my bills. Like it was not a business. It was like what can I do to supplement my hanging out with my friends time? And I actually did end up dropping out of college after I got my associate's degree. I was going for business marketing, and I just was not learning a lot of what I thought I needed to learn. I think college is great for people that need the degree, but for me personally, I was learning a lot about like TV and newspaper, and that was not really the direction I wanted to go. So I actually had a few clients that were bloggers, and I was doing Pinterest for them and helping them with Instagram and graphics and everything like that. My mom had a health issue that I had to come home and help her with. And there was literally a Burger King and a Walmart where she lived at the time. And I was like, neither one of those are my career path. So I decided to take the Pinterest avenue.
Really? Wait. You don't want to work for Walmart? Let's circle back to that. I mean, why not? They pay so well, right?
It was also like really far away from her house. She lived in this like terrible town, like not terrible. I won't throw any shade on it, but like it's one of those places where there was like nothing to do anywhere except for there were like abandoned business, like home complexes that people would like ride their trucks around in. And it was just like one of those scenarios where like that was not, I had come from being close to Miami with the FAU and the college town and stuff like that. And then I'd come back to this and I was like, don't want to do any of this, because I worked in real estate in South Florida. And then I came back and I was like, none of these.
No. So then you got your own business going. Fast forward.
So then I took the people that I was working with just on the side for Pinterest and Instagram and stuff like that. Funnily enough, I have my first client still to this day.
That's amazing.
And decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I'm living back home with my mother while I'm helping her with these health issues. I have no real variable expenses. I'm going to figure out how to make this a little bit more than, because at the time it was like a couple $100s a month. And I was like, I'm going to figure out how to make this a little bit more than what it is now and turn it into something. And then I transitioned to a digital marketing agency. And ever since then.
So how do you, let's start with this. So you basically, your whole job is helping people / companies brand.
Yes. So the perspective that I've really taken is that personal branding and authenticity with your audience, with your clientele, with who you are as a person is crucial, which made me super unpopular during the buy all of your followers on Instagram phase. But
that's not even real. Those people don't even pay attention. Like there's not, it's just bot stuff. It's not helpful.
So my like line that I've said for all of time, and I haven't said it in a long time, so this is kind of funny to say, but I would rather you have 1,000 people and 500 of them know who you are than have 100,000 people and have 12 of them know who you are. Because I think people focus a lot on vanity numbers, especially in branding. And it is important to make sure that you have, some credibility. You don't want to just have 11 followers. And then when people come to follow you, they're like, what the heck are you? Like, what is this? But you do want to make sure that your following is people who will follow you to the end of the time. That's what I tell my clients that I work with. Like if Instagram shut down, if TikTok shut down, if Facebook shut down, if all these platforms shut down, I want those people to be sending you a carrier pigeon letter because they want to hear what's going on in your life. Like I want 100%. People to be invested in you. And all of that starts with a really strong brand.
Yes. So let's hit on that real quick. So Owen Tara Furiani says, yes, so true. Numbers don't matter. Engagement and action matter. 100%. I've learned that I don't necessarily want 500 likes if they're not doing anything. I want, or 500 views, if they're not doing anything. I want the likes, the hearts, the comments, mostly comments. I want engagement. I want to get conversation started. It's
been really great because it's really worked out in that way. And like I said, I was really unpopular during the buying followers time because I was like, nope, just maintain the course. We have a strong brand. We're engaging with our audience. We're engaging with our demo. We're not going to buy followers. And I had a lot of clients who there was like a good amount of pushback on. And the ones that are still with me are the ones that were understanding of that process. But what's really great, and I've said no to clients who have said, I want to buy my followers. I'm like, well, then I can't help you because that's not how I work. The ones that have stuck with the process that doesn't include taking the shortcuts or anything like that, they still have all their followers. They still have all their engagement. They still have sales. They're making amazing sales. Whereas I know a girl who lives in South Florida and she has millions of followers and she still has a day job because she doesn't know how to monetize that. And she doesn't have the opportunity.
You and I have had these conversations because I referred someone to you that was like that just had tons of TikTok followers and just nothing else going on with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of those things that people don't realize. It's about the engagement, right? Yeah, you can have all these big, impressive numbers, but engagement, that's what you want. So when somebody, let's say it's an individual and let's say a job seeker or someone who is even just a professional who just wants to be known as the best and just circulate their name around, maybe they're in sales, maybe they're in management, maybe they run a company. What are some of the tips that you can give them that they can do themselves before they get to the stage of hiring you? Because that's kind of a, down the road type thing. So what should they start with?
Yeah, there's a couple different things that you should do. So I'll take two positionings on it. I got it.
That's okay. My brain stopped a few times already, so don't worry about it.
I'm good with the words, but not that great with the stumbling over them. Anyways, there's two different kind of positions that I'll take on it. So one is a personal brand. And I think that everyone needs a personal brand. Another kind of thing that I say that my clients laugh at me for is, if you wanted to go sell sock puppets on the side of the road, I want the people in your brand to follow you. Even if you come from tech or software or whatever it is, if they build that know, like, and trust with you, then that goes with you. So if you sell that company, or if you leave that company, or if you, whatever it is, that's not your whole identity. You've established your own identity as X person here, as X expert here.
So tip one is, don't just identify yourself. Oh, the reverb. I'm getting reverb.
Oh, yeah. This doesn't have Bluetooth, so I couldn't put my earplugs in. I know.
Okay, we'll see what we can do. So sorry about that, guys. Technical issues. What are you going to do? Live show. So the first tip is, don't make your identity just about your company. Just be you, right? Just get out there and represent yourself, not just your you can say your organization too, right? But you don't just want to talk about your organization.
Right.
So how do you create?
No, I was going to say that's like tip one. The tip two is to collaborate with your business or your brand to make it an extension of you. So a lot of people are like, I can't focus on my personal brand. I need to focus on my business. Listen, the days of you having a Facebook business page and that being how people respect you as a business are very long gone. Like, that is not a thing anymore. You can have a page, people see it as a business, it's important. But what you need to do is you need to have it resonate with your personal brand. One of my favorite examples of this, and this will get probably the most comments because people roast me for this all the time. Kylie Jenner is not a self-made millionaire. Her family brand established that. She knew what she was doing in building a brand on Instagram and became a self-made billionaire.
Yes.
And so, because all of her sisters have millions of dollars and none of them are billionaires. Like, why would Kim not be a billionaire if that was being handed out? And so she took that and she used her personal brand and leveraged it over to her business. And that's the level of success. And I know that that's like a very like Instagrammable way to kind of talk about that. But I feel like it's like a surface level way that we can kind of say how people are utilizing that. In the more professional space, if you're a professional, you don't want your entire identity established with a company, especially if you don't own that company. You don't want your entire identity to be this specific company. If you do own the company, you don't want it for the same reason of, what if you sell? What if you leave? What if you decide to start a second company? What if you have 7 businesses? When you think Gary Vaynerchuk in your head, you don't think wine, or you don't think digital media, or you don't think garage sales. You think expert at X. And
that's very true. That's very, very true. And even when you do own your own business, like Gary, that's a great example, actually. So what? So you still need your own personal brand because businesses go under, markets change, things go on. So now whenever he launches a new brand, people just go with him. Like you said, they would literally go buy sock puppets from him on the side of the road, made from his own socks. I swear. They
would. They'd pay extra for it.
They would. They totally would. It'd be $50
they're not invested in him as a person, which is the number one thing. They're invested in his expertise. They're invested in him. Well, that's the wrong kind of wording. They're not invested in his business. They're more invested in his expertise. They're more invested in what he has to say, what kind of things he's bringing to the table, and how he can help them. Because
pause that right there. help, the help. And that's such a big aspect that people forget. They want to post all about them and yay this product, but they forget that's not going to get people excited. What's going to get them excited is how are you helping them? Everyone that I follow that has the most success online with really truly having a brand where people know them, and even in different stages, even the ones that are just starting to really get that going all the way up to the Gary Vaynerchuk's or the Damon Johns. He's another favorite one of mine. I love following him. He's fascinating. Is that they help people. They offer advice. They offer tips. They tell stories that are encouraging. They get deep with you. A lot of these people bare their souls.
Yeah.
On social media, even LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And even so, we've had Chingyur Lee on the show. We've had Tara Furiani. These people get personal.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference.
It really does. And one of the things that I think is really important that a lot of people make mistakes brand-wise and marketing-wise is if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. So if you're establishing your brand and you're trying to market to people and you're like, I have this service and everyone would benefit from it. Well, you're probably not going to sell that much, because what sells is when you establish a pain point. When you say, okay, I want to speak to the overworked mother, the person who, needs an extra 10 minutes in their day, who hasn't had time for themselves in this amount of time. And this product is going to solve this problem for them by doing X. Then when you market, you can market to that specifically instead of saying do you need this thing? No, nobody's stopping to look at that. When you do marketing, when you do branding, whenever you do, you need to make sure that you're doing a really, really good job at speaking to your niche, speaking to your vertical of people, whatever it is that you want to call it, because there are different names for it, but you need to find your person. And one of the biggest exercises that I go through with my clients is make them a person, really individualize them as a person, write it out. What's their fake name? What is their job? Where do they live? How do they feel on the everyday? And doing that and really personalizing it helps you to really make sure that whatever content you're putting out for your brand, for your marketing, for your business is speaking to that person. A lot of you probably already know that person, but you can't get a strong brand. You can't get a strong business without having a strong purpose of how you're going to help people and who you're going to help.
That's very true. That is so very true. And that's something I learned. Actually, you said that to me a couple of months ago when I very first met you. And I literally did that. I sat down and I wrote out who this person is. I invented them almost like I was an author inventing a character. Yeah. And it did help me to remember certain aspects that I forgot. And so even if you're not a business trying to sell, let's say you're a job seeker looking for a position, same kind of thing. Who are you targeting? Who's your target company? What are their needs? What are their wants? These hiring managers, what's a day in their life like? What do they need? What's going on with them? Because when there's understanding and empathy and emotion on both sides of the table, you're going to get a lot further. And when you make everything human on both sides, both on the hiring side and on the candidate side, on the customer side, on the company side, you're going to get a lot better relationship and a lot more success relationship, and everybody's going to be a lot happier and make more money. That's my experience anyway.
Yeah. And so when you're looking at that, everyone has a need, right? At the end of the day, everyone has something that they need to fulfill, whether it's they want to hire for a job, whether it's they want to hire you as a business, whatever it is. You need to figure out what that need is and how you can fill it and why you're the best person to fill that job. And then you should build your brand around that. For example, if you decide that, and we'll do a job seeker one, because I know we did a business owner one and a personal brand one, but if you're a job seeker, if I go to your Facebook right now and there are 7 posts about the most recent presidential election and 4 memes with a bunch of cuss words in them, and all of this, I've had clients be like, I'm not hiring this tech because I don't want that liability.
100%. Say that again. Say that again, because people don't ever listen to me when I say it. So maybe if you repeat it.
Oh, I tell people all the time, no political post and nothing that's going to be specifically controversial. Here's why.
Just because it's private on your feed does not mean that people cannot find it.
No, okay. Google yourself. You'll figure out real quick how easy people can find things about you. But I tell people all the time, you don't want it to be too controversial. And here's why. Unless that's your specific brand, because for some people, that's the brand. But for most people watching this, that's probably not your brand. Here's why you don't want to be too controversial. you alienate more than 50%, because it's not just the 50% of people that don't agree with you. It's a huge chunk of the people who do agree with you, but who don't want that PR nightmare on their hands with what might you post next? What will you do?
Yes, 100%. And yeah, Tara, I mean, you're right. Like, so Tara Furiani is commenting, and she's right. So that is her brand. Like, she's just going to put all the business out there and just say it, because she's not the HR lady. That is her brand.
Some people, it makes a lot of sense, especially like you know that, like, I have one client and he's like, everyone that I work with is conservative. And so I'm only posting conservative stuff because that's why they resonate with me. And we've had a couple of disagreements about it in the past, because I'm like, I think if you were a little less abrasive, maybe we could get some non-conservative.
Yeah, just a little less.
Yeah,
dial it back.
It's fine. But yeah, that's one of those things, is like he stopped posting things that are like really, really controversial at this point, but he still shares a couple things. But the thing is, he has identified that those are his people. He knows that those are the people that are going to buy from him. He knows that this is what his service is, his offering is, targets directly towards that specific type of person. And so he's going to do things that resonate with them, and that works for him. But
do you see the comment from Tara?
Yes.
I love it. Yes. And Tara, no, this is why I love to use you as an example. And I've done it several times, even when I'm on other shows talking, is that when it comes to knowing how to present information, first of all, it should never be hate-filled. So even if you are going conservative or liberal or whatever because of your brand, there's a right and a wrong way to do it. And Madison Butler is another great one. She posts super left-wing stuff, but never hates, never ugly, never any of that. It all still comes from education and knowledge and wanting to expand a brand. And so there is still a right and a wrong way to do it.
Well, that's what I was going to say about Tara. If she put that up there, she probably does it in a very knowledgeable, well-researched, intelligent way that's not attacking someone or like spewing information. Not that everyone who shares in that specific way, but if you're someone who knows that your brand is, okay, this is what my audience will resonate with, or if Tara shares information that like that's part of her brand, then that's how that goes. But that's really a key part of identifying who is going to resonate with your messaging. Because if Tara did that and she put all of this stuff out and then she was looking for like an HR position at a Fortune 500 company, then like that probably wouldn't work out very well, because they'd be like, what the heck is all of this? But I don't know what she posts necessarily.
She puts just to give a specific example, because I think this actually will help people. So she puts a lot of information about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and things like that. So that can be used.
So she might work out.
She does consulting. And she does. So she does very, very well, and is highly successful. And even for job seekers, it's the same thing. If you are an HR person, right now you probably should be posting about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Just putting that out there, and how experts that can come in and help, how you would implement that as it comes to hiring. As a candidate, if you are in the job market and you're kind of looking for a specific type of company, to Shelby's point, post things that are relevant for that. So let's say you're in gas and oil, or oil, something like that. Something a little controversial to the right wing, which some people see, oil and all that is controversial. Still post about your industry, post the news, post the facts, post what's going on. You can still support your industry without being alienating to someone. If you're an environmentalist, you can post and be effective without trashing certain companies that may surprise you and actually want to hire you. I know an environmentalist who worked for an oil and gas company.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, it really is representative of what your brand is. Like, Tara just commented and said she's worked at 3 Fortune 500 companies. I don't know her specific post, so I can't speak on what she exactly posts. But since you said she posts about certain diversity and inclusion, that makes a lot of sense. If she was posting like this left-wing thing and this right-wing thing and we hate this person and we hate, that's where people start to get themselves in trouble. So if you share things that are really knowledgeable, that showcase that you actually have an understanding of that specific topic, and that you're a person who is able to speak about these things in a very knowledgeable, conversational, intelligent way, then that doesn't create any issue for you. But
Right.
what you need to do is you need to look at who's hiring you, who's going to be coming across, who is your who is your ideal client, who is your person that you're going to be speaking to. Because for Tara, she's found the niche that really, she said it works. It works perfectly for her.
And cite your facts.
But that's because she has done the work and seen who her audience is, and she's able to be successful with that specific niche. Whereas if she hadn't figured out that that works for certain people, or she had done it in a different, a different way. And like I said, I don't know her audience or her content, but there are ways that you can do it that don't appeal to your brand. And then you can rub people the wrong way. But if you do it in the right way, that it appeals to the people that you're targeting towards, you can do it great. And the other thing is, you can't appease everyone all the time.
Right.
You can try a lot.
You have to accept that. Accept the haters. Accept them. I had somebody recently who was infuriated with me. And I mean infuriated, because I said that people who do work should be paid. Not kidding. Infuriated.
Okay.
Infuriated. Well, what if that work didn't directly affect the bottom line? First of all work directly affects the bottom line. Let me just help you out real quick with that little tidbit. But what an idiotic thing to get upset about. What a non-controversial statement. And yet I had a hater who was so enthusiastic, even private messaged me and then stalked me over it. For a week. Calm down, people. But you're going to get haters, and don't worry about that. It's going to happen, even if you put something factual, and again, cite your facts and look for legitimate sources, not tilted sources. So
and it's also really tilted. And it's also really what is your brand, right? Because even as I referenced earlier, when I said I'm not buying Instagram followers, hard no on that. If you want to be my client, we're not doing that. People didn't like that. But it's what I knew, that the people that I resonated with and the brands that I would be able to help the most, I knew that those people who understood me would be the ones that I could help the most. And so that's what really creates the differentiator. I knew that that was my brand. I knew that my brand wasn't folding into what other people were doing, and it wasn't talking about something that didn't feel authentic to me. And that goes back to the personal brand, meshing with the business, meshing with whatever jobs you're looking for.
I take hard stances, and it helps my brand. With you, it gets me the right customer that's going to fit in with what I do. I don't do it hateful. I don't do it hateful, but I take a hard stance of this is what I want to do. That's exactly. Oh, you got a compliment. She said you're perfect. That was perfect.
And honestly, authenticity is crucial. One of the things that actually has come out as a huge trend is authenticity. And what is really important in that specific demographic is that that's the way that social media is trending, right? People nowadays want to feel a connection, and there's so much noise and there's so much going on. People want to feel a connection. So if you're authentic about how you feel without being angry or hatred or anything like that, and you're authentic in this is where I stand, this is my personal beliefs, and this is how it projects into my business, and this is how all of those things can help you, that's going to connect with people on a really deep level, and people are really going to be able to see through all of the rest of the noise to what you actually do.
Yes, 100%. I love that. So we only have a little bit of time left with you. So if you could run us through a checklist of what you would recommend for someone who's starting out their personal brand on, let's say, LinkedIn.
Okay.
What are some things what's your checklist?
For sure. Yeah. Well, my first thing would be to say, don't necessarily be on LinkedIn if your people aren't on LinkedIn. So research where your people are first. That's the first one. Most of us can be on LinkedIn, but some companies, some brands, you should really figure out where your people are hanging out right now, because some people are wasting a lot of time in the wrong spot. So find out where your people are, identify your person, find out where your people are, then get on that specific platform. So if you're doing LinkedIn or whatever platform it is that you're utilizing, you need to get on there and you need to make sure that you really flesh things out, that you really are strong with your profile, that if I visit your profile within one glance, I know what you're about. Are you doing this specific job? Are you an expert at this specific thing? Are you utilize your header image, your cover image, whatever it's called on LinkedIn? One of those.
I think it's cover image, whatever that thing is. That big long picture at the top.
They change it every 5 minutes. make sure you have a strong, clear profile photo. Make sure you have a strong descriptor. Make sure you have a place to contact you, because I can't tell you guys how many times I've tried to contact someone and there's like no information, and I'm like, bye.
Yeah, at least email something. Put something on there.
And make sure that, you have a very short window of time. Social media is the same as a face-to-face interaction with a person, a conversation. Make sure that I can tell within 5 seconds what it is that you do and how you could potentially help me, because most people are being too convoluted with their messages and they're not letting me know enough right up front about what it is that they do, because they want to appeal to too many people. So identify who your brand is, show up who your person is, show up where they are, and then strengthen your brand around making sure that you attract that ideal person.
And if you want additional help with this, I have dropped Shelby's information into the comments. Just scroll up to the top of the comments. It's right there. You can reach out to her on her website. Is there any other way that you would like for people to connect with you?
I love LinkedIn friends.
All right, so connect with her on LinkedIn. Actually, I don't think we're connected on LinkedIn.
I'm almost an influencer on LinkedIn, so I'm real annoying about that.
Yay! Congratulations!
I've been doing LinkedIn since like 2015, like 2014.
Wow. Yeah. Actually, I've been on there about that time too because of recruiting. So yeah, that's interesting. So great. Congratulations on everything you've had going on. I think it's wonderful. Thank you so very, very much for coming on the show. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.
All right, everybody. So real quick, before we bring on our next guest, Miss Julie Glenn, author of If My Ass Were Smaller, Life Would Be Perfect, and Other Lies That The Mean Girl in Your Head Tells You. Very excited to have her on. But before we bring her on, I do want to remind you that today's episode is being sponsored by Margot Channing. Margot writes poetry for and about women, and you can find Margot's book on Amazon. And there are actually multiple books, but this is the new one called She. And we are actually having a giveaway today. Julie graciously has allowed me to give away a copy of her book. Here it is. So if you would like to win a copy of Miss Julie's book, please connect with me on LinkedIn, message me and say, I want a copy. And that's it. And just let me know, and you will be entered into the drawing, and the drawing will happen on Friday morning. All right, so let's bring on Miss Julie. So excited to add her. Hey.
Hey.
How are you? It's my dorky wave. I don't know why I'm doing that today. And that's what I have going on today. So how are you today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm great. And you're here in Florida with me. Both you and Shelby are here in Florida with me. I love that.
I know. If you look close, you can see my raccoon eyes.
I know. Me too. I have my glasses hide them. They do. But I have that going on too. What are you going to do? Right?
Oh my goodness. The price of beauty.
Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, and Tara, I will definitely enter you into the drawing, doll. So, and by the way, again, if you want to connect with anybody that's on the show today, everybody's links are dropped in the comments. So just scroll up and you can connect. So Julie, let's start off. Tell us a little bit about you. Give us your little mini bio.
Oh, my mini bio. I used to teach special ed, and we kind of semi-retired. Like you said, we're in Florida. I think it's been 13 or 14 years we've been coming back and forth between New Hampshire and Florida. And that's about how long it's been since I was a full-time teacher. And the more I pulled away from teaching and stuff, I decided to go into coaching. And I knew I could help people because
So what kind of coaching? Because there's so many kinds of coaching.
There's 100 million kinds of coaching. And I
finally, a million bajillion, yes.
I finally landed on something that has been part of my life like forever, which is body image, food, eating, diets, all of that stuff that controls our life. I call myself the anti-diet coach. So
I know, I love that. So tell us what that means.
That means that the best way to take care of your body is to feed it according to your needs. I'm also an intuitive eating counselor, which is really interesting because if you look at like the human body, we come out as intuitive eaters.
Yes, and we do.
Yeah.
And to your point, so I get real quick, I just have to say this. This is why I love what you do and your approach to it, because my whole life, I put salt on everything and just gobs of salt. And It's okay. Don't worry about it. Life happens. We accept humanity on the show. So all my life, gobs of salt, and people would always give me flack about it and say, oh, that's so unhealthy for you. You shouldn't be doing that. But my body kept telling me I need salt. It was not a taste thing. Like I just craved it. I just needed it. And so one day I got blood work done and they did a full panel just for kicks. I was low on sodium. I just had a sodium deficiency. And I also had an iodine deficiency. And if you pay attention to a lot of salt products, they have iodine in them. So my body was telling me, I need this. Mm-hmm. I need to have this. Now I found healthier ways to do that now. But that really, it makes sense. You know, mm-hmm. that idea that your body will tell you what it needs. Sometimes you just have to find a healthier way to
Exactly. And we spend all of our time fighting against it. I personify everything. I mean, I have personified Christmas trees. So it's so natural for me to personify your body and your brain, but it's mm-hmm. like your body is like its own little person. Your brain is like another little person, and they just battle. And the thing is, I try to tell people your body is going to win all the time.
100%. Always, you can't beat it.
Why are you fighting this battle against something that is going to win? Always. Mm-hmm. The thing is like, I mean, I have to pull back because I don't want anybody to think like I'm accusing them. I am the worst at having fought this battle forever and ever, mind against my body. Like, okay, I'll show you. I'll teach you a lesson. You know, it's like you don't teach your body a lesson. It doesn't work.
No, it does not. It does not. And it ends up just making you feel unhealthy, right?
Well, not only that, but it creates conflict that you're constantly mm-hmm. carrying around with you all the time when you're fighting against your own body that's telling you what you need and what is
100%. 100%. So I want to tie this in because I even had a couple of people before the show go, I'm confused. Why is she coming on to talk about personal branding and about all this? I said, because mindset, because in order to get yourself to a successful personal brand and a successful place in your life, whether it's your job, growing your business, whatever, your mind has to be right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. So, and including and your health and all that ties into that because we're holistic beings, right? So your book, which everyone loves the title. I've gotten like, since I've been posting it, so many people message me and go, I love that title. Tell us why you wrote it. Let's start with that.
Well, I wrote it in hopes that just one person would go, I don't have to do this anymore. I can live freely. I can give up the battle that I'm in and just, accept who I am. And actually, for the tie-in, I have a chapter in my book that's about how what we think about our body, what we think other people think about our body, seriously can hold you back from living your fullest life. That's and true. I have some examples in there about particularly people who want to take a risk, who want to go on and do something more. I want to go back to school. I want to pursue the dating world. I want to start a business. But then they're like, oh, I can't. I'm not pretty enough. My hair's not blonde enough. My fingernails break all the time. I'm too short. Whatever. People, they'll pull themselves back and say, I can't do it. I can't do this because I'm going to be judged on the things that pretty much only you are judging yourself on.
Right. And even if the external world does have opinions, ultimately it's what we have going on inside that gets us, right? I mean, Michaela, who did our psychology segment for almost the first full year of the show, she would talk about that it's what's in here and that really gets to you in your own feelings and your own ways of dealing with things. So let's say someone has that mean girl or that mean guy in their head and they just feel beat down. I've been in the job market for 10 months and nothing's happened. And so it must be me. I stink. I suck. Mm-hmm. What about, or let's say it's a woman that's saying, I can't get a job because I'm 65 and I have some wrinkles and nobody wants me. What can we do to get out of that mindset?
Well, one of the things about that is that those are ideas and beliefs that we chose to accept. Mm-hmm. They're not fact. They're thoughts. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, and I talk about this too in my book, everything that happens is neutral. everything. You didn't get a job. Your boyfriend broke up with you, everything. It's neutral.
Because everything has both, right? Positive and negative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of examples of that in my book, how one situation, two people look at it in two different ways. And for one of them, it's great. And the other one, it's like, oh my gosh. It's the same thing. I didn't get a job. Okay. It's the meaning you attach to that. And the beauty is you get to choose anything in the whole world that you want to choose. But I would say probably most of us, we choose, it's because I was too old. It's because I wore that shirt with the bow on it. It's because I arrived 5 minutes early. That we come up with all these things that we can beat ourselves up with. Nobody ever walks out and says, you know what? I was so overqualified. They didn't hire me. They were intimidated by me. Nobody.
I don't know. I've done that. I've walked out and gone, yeah, they just were intimidated.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm kind of weird. So
but the thing is it's like, how did that make you feel compared to, well, it's because I'm 65.
Right. So how do they get to the point that their mindset changes like that?
Well, one of the things I always say is play with it and use smaller things.
Right. Start small. Yeah. Start little.
Start really small with little things. And the thing is like nothing even has to happen and your mean girl will say something to you. Always. That's true. Always. And that's where you start with. And a couple of things I say, one of them is just argue back. Like I think about my granddaughter when she was little, my husband used to go, yeah, I'm going to say no. And she'd go, well, I say yes. And he'd go, well, I say yes. And then we could go back and forth, back and forth. And it was like, she wasn't intimidated at all. So do that. Be a kid. Be like, when they say it's because you're 65, be like, no, it's not. Because yes. And the thing is this is the thing I think about Mean Girl, is everything she says or he says is a script that they've heard in the past.
Yes.
His voice never comes up with something that's like, whoa, I never heard that before. It's always something that's come up in the past. Either somebody came to us and said, well, you're too old for that job. Or what are you thinking about doing that?
And I do want to say, ageism is real. Sexism is real. Racism is real. Even I shouldn't say even, and especially in the job market, these things really do happen. And while they can prevent employment, ultimately what those things, to your point, what those things are is a symptom of the real underlying problem. Someone is intimidated. Someone is insecure. Someone has their own problems going on. That's what it really is.
Well, and that's the thing too, is when sometimes a situation that can be a thought is a fact. Someone says something straight up, you're too old and you're too ugly. That's an absolute fact. They said it. Doesn't mean it's true. But the thing is that's their issue.
Yes.
That's not your issue. But the thing too about the racism and the sexism and the ageism and stuff, that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
Some people overcome it. Some people don't. And I feel like it's an option to try to pursue. You can try to take the road to overcome it. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy because we all go through it. But that's where you start to seek out support.
Yes.
I am suffering from this real situation that happens to people. How can somebody help me move?
Yes. And it is because there also are these real things. And so, yes, we do need to get our minds right, like we're talking about, and practice. And you're right. And I tell people, even before you go into a job interview, do things that get yourself psyched up. Listen to music that gets you pumped up. Call that person that's your cheerleader and your rah-rah and have them get in your head. Do your research so that you're prepared, but don't over-research because then you'll sound robotic. But do your research, know what's going on, have questions. Basically anything that's going to get your confidence up.
Exactly.
Do that.
And sometimes
real stuff happens and somebody says something crummy or does something crummy to you. I apologize, having some calls coming in. See, humanity, it happens. You will have people say things. I have a friend and colleague who was literally told, oh, wow, you're pretty old for this job, aren't you? And he dusted it off and went off and found a better job, but it still did hit him for a minute. It's like, really?
It's still
Come on.
It's still hurt. Yeah. And we
And
all
so
have those things.
he called me, he called a couple other people and said, what do I do? Like, how do I overcome this? And so reach out to experts. And by the way, any of us on LinkedIn that do these kind of shows that talk about this kind of stuff, we're all here to help. We all want to help you. We all will give you tips and advice and be there for you. So connect, get on LinkedIn and scroll through. That's great therapy, by the way. I have some people that I follow that, I mean, without them, I think I might have gone postal, honestly. If it weren't for people. Actually, Tara Furiani, who was commenting earlier, is one of them. If I didn't watch her show weekly, which I don't always get to catch it live, but if I didn't watch it weekly, I think I might have gone postal over COVID and all of that. So, have those things that help, but to keep your mind right. So let's say things you're doing the exercises and all of that, and you just keep getting beaten down. What's your solution for that? How do you stay focused? Because I know, you've talked about this and all that, and in your book, you talk about all these different tips and all that. So when things just seem to be frustrating and you're just hitting a wall, what do you do?
Well, sometimes, you just need to sit with it and think it through and just think, what is it that I'm feeling about this? And how do I want to feel about this?
Yeah.
And what do I need to do to feel how I want to feel about it? I have a little loop that goes around in my book, and I call it think, feel, do, get. So fill in the little blanks. How are you thinking? How do you want to think? Then what do you have to do to have that happen? And, it's like a little puzzle. You can put little different things in there and try them and experiment and see. And after a while, it'll get a little bit easier. But sometimes you just got to sit in the muck for a little while.
That's right.
Like we had a house fire, and I knew that it's a neutral event. It's a fire. It's a fact. And I know
and it's scary.
Yeah.
Scary fact. Yeah.
But I knew that my thoughts made all my feelings. And my thoughts were, I don't want to stay in a different house. I don't want to rebuild. I want to go home. I want to do this. Yeah. And I knew that I had the ability to sit down and be like, okay, well, how do I want to feel? And what do I have to do? But I needed first to just be mad and upset and cry and kick and scream and feel all of that.
Yes.
We had a fire,
Yes. And you get to feel that. Don't box those things down. Michaela would always talk about that on the show. Do not push your emotions down. Let them out.
Exactly.
Constructively.
I did not ask for this. I did not want it. And I am not happy about it. And, and there were some times when I broke down in front of other people that, it was like silly stuff. We were in our hotel and this little minor mishap happened. And I just lost it and started crying. It was like,
you're overwhelmed.
I know. I was like, no, I cannot take one more thing. And then
it happens. And I talk to a lot of people that feel that way. I can't take one more thing. I can't take one more rejection. I can't. And Daryl, actually, I'm going to bring his comment back up here. He actually said it very spot on. Reframe your words from limiting to overcoming. And that goes with your whole mindset too. So don't say, I can't go home, or I can't, put it into, I get to do this. I get to.
And what you're doing then too, is you're also giving scripts to your me girl in your head. Oh, you can't do that. Wait a minute. You already said you can't do it. And now you're it ended up, and this is in my book. It was within 2 weeks of our fire. I ended up making a pretty substantial list, and it was called 10 Reasons Our Fire Was a Gift. And I came up with 10 silver linings to our year. I mean, I didn't want that damn fire, believe me. But I was
really, you didn't want your whole house to burn down? How odd.
I know. But I was able to sit down, and it was really hard. I came up with 10 silver linings, 10. Thank goodness. And the thing is that started happening right away. It was oh my gosh, thank goodness for blah, blah, blah.
Isn't it interesting? And even professionally. So let's say, I lost a bunch of clients due to COVID, but I expanded my network, and
Exactly.
I learned new business development techniques, and I came up with this great new product that's going to help me get new clients. And
Mhm.
all of these things, when you stop and you realize the opportunities that you've been given, and like when people were just devastated about the lockdowns and things like that, and everybody was so sad and they just felt so alone. I said, yeah, but you're doing all of these Zooms and you're on LinkedIn and you're meeting people. And now my network is across the whole world. And I mean, everywhere. There's, other than Antarctica, there's not a continent on which I don't have
Right.
friends and allies and colleagues now.
Well,
And you
mhm.
just have to look at things from a different perspective, and it can really set you up for success.
And that's like the one example you gave where somebody said, aren't you too old for this position? I mean, it's like, yeah, that hurts. But what
Yeah.
a gift, what an amazing gift to find out this is not a good match for me. What if
Yeah. And who wants to
said
work
that?
for a company that thinks like that? Ew.
Exactly. What if they
Ew.
kind of said that and you started working there and you made some sacrifices to make
Yeah.
that work,
And
and
then
then you
bam.
find out after you get there, like, oh, great.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like they
Yep.
ripped the Band-Aid off. Yeah, it hurt for a little while, but thank goodness, what a gift. They showed you exactly their colors and you got to pivot without.
Absolutely. 100%. What a blessing. And I got some great advice years ago. I had a lot of discrimination coming my way as a woman, doing business and all of that. And a friend of mine's mother sat me down, beautiful blonde woman who's been in business for herself and run her husband's company for years. And she looked at me and she said, it bothers you because you know you're not stupid and they're treating you like you're stupid and less than, right? I said, yeah. She goes, let them think it. And I said, what? And she said, let them think you're stupid and then take everything. Because when they underestimate you, you'll climb right on over them.
Mhm. Right.
And I thought, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I've been thinking about this all wrong. Yay that they think I'm dumb. And so I've used that so many times when negotiating contracts, engaging in bids, things like that. I have had so many people that underestimated me and that worked to my advantage, and I love it.
And
so now, instead of being insulted, I'm like,
some people even intentionally do that to gain leverage. Like, what's that Law and Order show where the one detective, he always acts like is completely clueless.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember which one of the Law and Orders it is, but he's always like, wait a minute.
I think we're talking about Criminal Intent, maybe.
Yes.
I think he does that. Yeah, he does that a lot. Yeah.
Always
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Get it. And everybody thinks, oh, he's so dumb. I can plow over him. And then he usually ends up getting a confession because they're just
Yep. Just rock. And I love that. And so it's true. Use those attributes for success. And when you have your mindset right, that will lead to that personal brand and all of that will help you grow as a candidate, as a professional, an employee, a boss, an executive, a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever it is. A show host, it will help, an author. Yeah. It will help you grow. So
one of the things I try to say about Mean Girl or Mean Guy is if you can create an alliance with your voice in your head, no matter where you go, it's always 2 against 1. But if you don't have an alliance, then it's 2 against 1 against you because Mean Girl's coming up with it, someone else is coming up with it, and then you lose the power. But when you go in anywhere you go and you have 2 people on your side, your confidence and your Mean Girl, and it was like, I remember when we had our fire, I remember my Mean Girl was like, you can do this. You got it. You can do it. You can do it. She didn't. I didn't hear any like, you're useless. You had a fire. Yeah. You're gonna roll up and die. She was like, we got this. We totally got it. And I was like,
got it. Isn't that a cool feeling?
We do have this. We have this. It's gonna take some time, but we are gonna plow through this. And like, if you can approach everything like that, like, oh, wait a minute, hey, where's my? And this is
one amazing, right?
Name your Mean Girl, Mean Guy. Give them a name.
I love that.
It implies an equal distribution of power when you name something.
That's true. It's very, very true. And I want to, so in our last couple of seconds with you here today, and I want to first of all, thank you so very much for coming on and talking to us about getting our minds right, because that's so important in any process, personal or professional. I want to talk about your book, and we're going to show it right now, but I want you to talk about it while it's up there.
Well, see, the funny thing about my book is that it does have to do with body image and how we feed our body. But the funny thing about coaching, and a lot of people are always saying, what's your niche? What's your niche? You know, and it's interesting because it's like the niche is really just the door that brings them in. And how you address body image, how to have a healthy relationship with your body, but it ultimately is all about your thoughts.
That's right.
Your mindset.
Because we're holistic beings.
Mm-hmm.
And these things matter.
Yeah.
We have to have everything right. Everything. Body, mind, spirit right, so that we can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So I know they can get it on Amazon. I've dropped the link in the comments before the show. So scroll up, you'll see it. I also, how can they get in touch with you? If somebody wants to reach out and connect with you, how can they do that?
Well, I have a website. It's still being revamped, but it's my name, julieglynn.com. And
how do we spell your name?
JULIEGLYNN.
That's why I wanted to ask, was that last name, because it's the way they don't misspell it. And so they can reach out to you. They can also buy the book on Amazon.com or connect with me on LinkedIn if you're not already. If you are, or after you connect, message me, say, I want to win, or I want to be entered, and I will enter you into the drawing to win Julie's book. We will announce the winner Friday morning. And I want to thank you so very much for joining us today, Julie. I really, really enjoyed having you.
I loved it. I was scared, nervous, because that was me, girl, saying.
Everyone always is, but it's not that bad, right?
Not at all. It was a ton of fun.
All right, Julie. Well, thank you again so very much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we are wrapping up the show. I want to thank everybody for staying with us today and learning about personal branding and successful mindset. Again, you can connect with anyone that was on the show, including myself, by scrolling up in the comments and clicking on our links. Also, I've put the links to our Facebook and our YouTube. Follow us, connect with us. And if you follow Career Launch on LinkedIn, I share jobs on there all the time. So if you're looking for employment, that's a great way to keep track. It may not necessarily pop up in your feed, but if you go to the page about once a week and check, I'm always posting new opportunities. And one last time, I want to thank our new sponsor, Margot Channing, who writes poetry for and about women. And you can find Margot's new book, She, on Amazon. So thank you again, everyone, for being with us, learning. Thank you for commenting. We enjoyed having you. And join us next week for another Career Launch Live. We'll see you then.